This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by Law Firm Conversions. If your law firm's phone is ringing, that only means your marketing is successful. It's what happens when the phone is answered that will drive your success or failure. Visit www.intakeacademy.com and claim your free copy of Chris Mullen's groundbreaking book for lawyers and law firms that gets every call converting to become a profitable client, showing you the steps you need to take to ensure the right person is answering the phone and answering it correctly. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with the Intake Academy and Lawyers Tell All. And today I am interviewing Ari Levenbaum, and I'm going to let Ari introduce himself to you.
Hi, everybody. Ari Levenbaum, CEO and co-owner of the Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers, and we are an association of member law firms throughout the country that essentially work together to support the motorcycle community and represent injured motorcycle victims, accident victims, and their families and loved ones. And I'm so happy to be here today to answer any questions you may have about our organization, about the motorcycle niche, about best practices as it pertains to intake, which I know is your bailiwick, along with business matters. So I'm all here. Ask me any question you'd like. I'll be happy to answer.
So let me ask you this: how did this whole thing get started, Law Tigers?
So, Chris, my father, who has been practicing law for about 50 years now, moved out west from Massachusetts after law school, practiced business litigation and criminal work, and realized that the motorcycle niche was underserved. His firm and the partners with whom he worked at the time were doing general PI work, and then, of course, he was handling other matters, like I said, criminal, corporate. And about 10 years into his practice, 10 to 15 years into his practice, he saw advertising costs increasing with Yellow Pages. There was no internet back then, of course.
Yeah, Yellow Pages. I don't know if anybody remembers Yellow Pages. That's kind of like 8 tracks and cassettes.
I know, but that was the Google of its time, right? And he or her who dominated Yellow Pages and had the outside back cover or the closest pages to the front of the category or the pop out.
I know.
And so he, like many other law firms, were beholden to the Yellow Page companies and the salespeople, and every year they came back asking for more, or if you wanted to maintain your position, which he was quite far up because of his time advertising there. But unless you paid for the double trucks and the triples and the addition,
oh my God,
yeah, remember that you lost your position. So he said, there's got to be a better way to make a living. Crowded space. He saw the writing on the wall. In terms of increased competition, lower ROI, increased advertising costs, and said, let me do something that I love. And we grew up riding motorcycles, dirt bikes, ATCs, street bikes. And he said, I'm gonna create a brand, and with his business background and something that he could offer to other law firms if it worked here in Arizona, to grow and represent an underserved niche, underserved audience, which are motorcycle riders who need legal help from someone that understands what they're going through and what they who they are, rather than just a generalist or a general PI lawyer. And that was the beginning of it. He created a brand and then website. He studied marketing and realized that people remember icons and mascots and brands, and if it worked for Kleenex with tissue, which he wanted to become like the tissue of motorcycle, the Kleenex of the motorcycle PI industry, it could work for this space. So we were, I think, the first to create a brand, or one of the first, that didn't include the name of the law firm in it.
Okay, so Well, tell me a little bit about you. So who's Ari? Like, what are you passionate about? How does this whole thing fit into who you are? Like, what's important to you every day when it comes to you as a person and then also Law Tigers?
Certainly. So I don't have any kids of my own. I do have a stepdaughter who I love dearly, and of course my wife. But really, my baby has been and continues to be this business and this brand. I was a school teacher. I actually was in law school at USC for 1 month when I was 22.
Oh no.
Absolutely hated it.
Oh.
Not for me. I went for the wrong reasons, deferred my enrollment, and had the opportunity to go back the following year. Chose not to. Was substitute teaching while studying for the LSAT a year or two previous, and kind of fell in love with the notion of giving back and being a teacher, and ended up pursuing a teaching career for 8 years. But about halfway through my teaching career, my father came up with this concept, which I thought was crazy at the time, and
Mhm.
needed help with marketing. So I got involved part-time as the grassroots marketing guy, visiting shops, motorcycle shops, attending motorcycle events, and and I was really the first marketing manager here in Arizona, and really liked it. And about 4 years later, realized I needed to do something different. And after 8 years of teaching, I became a full-time employee of the brand and the law firm, and helped start really the program in terms of what we did on the grassroots side. Later, I became the first media buyer, bought all of our traditional media, and then did training, was the first director of marketing, and trained other marketing managers and helped sell memberships to other law firms. It was very early in its day, the program. And so, over time, I just grew and was lucky to have the opportunity to buy his silent partner out about 8 years ago. And now I'm the CEO of the company. I run day to day. My dad is the founder and president. We're equal partners in the entity, and I love it. I live it. I breathe it. I go to motorcycle events. I work on marketing projects. We give bikes away. We partner with motorcycle companies and entities. I get to ride my motorcycle to events and for fun, and it's really a passion of mine and my father's. It's not just a business. Obviously, the business has been successful, and we're in 30 states and growing. But to me, it's all about the industry, the culture, and helping out my fellow injured motorcycle riders in time of need.
Okay, so you still ride. So that's what kind of motorcycle do you have?
I have a bunch, actually.
Oh,
I've kind of, over the years collected bikes. So I have two vintage Harleys from the 40s era. One's military, called the WLA. The other one is the civilian WL. And then I've got an old BSA, 59 BSA, Golden Flash, British bike. And then, of course, I've got newer stuff. I've got 3 or 4 newer Harleys that are, anywhere from 2016 to 2020, and then a bunch of off-road stuff. So really, that's my passion. I'm not into, football, baseball. I do like watching basketball, but really
right.
my passion is motorcycles, both on-road and off-road. And that's why I don't consider what I do really a job. It's fun for me, but I'm also able to make a living doing it, which is great. I never thought or imagined I could do something I loved and make a living doing it. So it's been great.
That's wonderful. Okay, so as far as a law firm, what's the opportunity for a law firm to work with Law Tigers?
So essentially, Law Tigers is our brand name. It's what we do business as. It's how we market our services. But our association in our business is the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. It's a mouthful. AMIL for short, AAMIL. And that entity essentially is an organization made up of member law firms. And so it's not a franchise. It's really just a membership opportunity. So what we do is we look for like-minded attorneys, because you also have to realize we started as a law firm. My father and I still own and operate and partner with a firm here in Arizona. So we wear both hats, right? We own and operate Arizona, New Mexico as corporate run shops, if you will, and then the others we license to other attorneys. But essentially, we look for like-minded law firms that are looking to either expand beyond what they're doing now, or just want to start a motorcycle only practice. We're looking for good, they have to be good trial lawyers or have good trial lawyers working for them. They have to be able to serve riders first, not be a big, mill type firm. and individuals that, really care about not only riders, but protecting the brand that we've worked so hard to develop over the past, 22 years. So if you are a law firm and we happen to have a territory available, you can obviously, visit us at it's actually Law Tigers membership, or come to lawtigers.com and just fill out the online questionnaire, and find out if there's a territory available. We do sell territories exclusively, so if the state or territory is already claimed by a firm or owned by a firm, then it's not available. There's only so many accidents within a market because it's a much smaller number of accidents compared to auto. So we want to make sure that that firm has enough leads to justify the program. But we still have a bunch of states open. I mean, we've got, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, we've got Ohio, we've got most of Florida available. We've got the entire Northeast. Really, what's been sold and occupied is the West and some of the Midwest. But you can always, like I said, reach out to Dave Thomas, who's our VP of Business Development, Senior VP of Business Development. And he'll be happy to go over the program with you, the costs, the benefits, and then I get involved once that process moves a little bit farther on.
So if I'm the law firm, what do you do for me? Like, what is the membership that you provide?
So essentially, you join this program, you become a member. So a couple things. First of all, you get access to the other law firms because you're not competing. So you get the network of other law firms that you can cross refer, get feedback, learn from. We do a member summit. We also do member webinars and emails. So you have that network of like-minded lawyers that you can share ideas with and cross refer. But essentially what our mission is to drive all of the motorcycle leads to you in your territory based on where the person lives. So you provide us with, we provide you with a marketing budget recommendation based on research and opportunity. And that's a budget for traditional, digital, grassroots. And then we hire your marketing manager who is in the field, going to shops, going to events, working with, motorcycle clubs and organizations. And then we deploy that budget like any agency would. And we essentially penetrate your market, reach riders every which way we can, and drive large numbers of motorcycle leads, a percentage of which will obviously lead to signed cases and revenue down the road. So we're basically your in-house marketing team, and you own the equity of that, or you own the equity of that brand for up to 30 years. So we give you that protection of a 30-year agreement, renews every 3 years. Both parties are happy, and we grow together, and it's something that is yours to benefit from in terms of the cases and the revenue and the help you're providing to riders in your market.
So really, it's like plug and play. I mean, I can just decide that I want to add this market, and you do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have a pretty rigorous selection process. First of all, you have to meet the financial criteria, because look, especially in this day and age, you got to spend money on marketing, right? Even though we've got a well-known brand throughout the country, we still have to, maintain that and grow it in your market. So you got to be willing to make the investment, and a market of kind of mid-size is going to cost somewhere between $400,000 and $700,000 a year. Now that's not going to me. We do have a small percentage that's our membership fee. That's how we make our money, and we do charge a commission on the media spend as well. But a lot of that is going towards your media and your marketing manager and the grassroots that we do, grassroots outreach. But the great thing is, over time, we help grow your leading case volume and get big cases. It's unfortunate that people do get hurt in motorcycle accidents more severely oftentimes. I don't wish that on anyone, but the fees, the settlements and fees tend to be significantly higher. In fact, 4, 5, 6 times higher than a typical auto case. So you don't need as many cases. I hate to talk like this because,
Yeah,
obviously, but this is the business nuts and bolts that, if
Mhm.
you are looking to help riders first and foremost, and, and obviously reap the rewards if you do right, then this is the kind of practice for you. So there's a financial component. Then there's also, and we want to make sure that you're credit worthy, but also that you're a good lawyer, or you have lawyers working with you, that are not afraid to try cases and negotiate with insurance companies and get the most out of your client. Not afraid to hire experts, really take the insurance company to the mat when need be, to really get the client what they deserve. So, but it's a process we walk you through, and if it's mutual by the end, then you join our program. And I've had members now that are with me for 15 plus years. A good chunk of my members are going on 4, 5, 6 years. Generally, if it works out with the partner, it's a long-term relationship. I'm not going to say we're for everybody. We've had several firms that joined, and within a year they were no longer with us because they just weren't the right fit. They didn't have the patience, the fortitude, or there was something else that they were looking for that just didn't align with us. But the ones that get it, I'm very close with, I'm friendly with, and I do anything for them and they do anything for us.
That's awesome. Okay, so you do all the marketing, you get all the leads. What happens with conversion? Like, so
You'd ask for that.
What's going on there? Because everybody has a conversion situation, right?
Yeah, I tell my members all the time, my lawyer members, look, you're only as good as your intake process. My job when I first started doing this was to just drive leads. And then I realized, look, if the firms can't convert at a reasonable rate on those leads for whatever reason, then I'm doing them a disservice and they're doing themselves a disservice. So we also now are very, very metric driven and analytical in what we do and look at. Everything runs through HubSpot. That's our CRM, our outbound marketing, our intake. And we have access to it contractually. We see everything because we want to know and make sure that these clients are taken care of, but also that the firm and their staff are utilizing best practices, which you and I have spoken about, to convert as many potential leads to clients as possible. So most of my firms do have their own intake and case management software. We also give them access to HubSpot. We are working on an API with a number of our members, but for now they have to go into HubSpot and update the status. So we're looking at some key metrics. We're looking at, of all the leads we drive, how many are in accident. That's on us. We want to make sure we're driving accident leads, and then from there it's really up to the firm and their staff to take advantage of or utilize best practices to convert those people to clients. So we have key metrics. We really expect our members to convert, on average 40% of all leads to become clients. Now in some states it's a little less if they've got 1% contrib or other challenges, right? But good intake programs will convert on average about 40%. Some of my firms are at 50%. To clients. From there, we look at, of those they wanted, how many did they convert? Right. And 90, 91, 92% really is where the firm should be if they're doing their jobs. You're not going to get everyone. That's called a want rate, want conversion rate. Hopefully they can do 9 out of 10. If they're not, then they need to figure out where's the gap. From there, then you have closed fee ratios, which is of all the cases you sign up, how many actually generate a fee. And our best firms are around 80%, 85%. Some firms are lower because they take in a lot more. Some firms are lower because they get fired, and so we look at that too. But on the whole, unless you have states with certain nuances that do affect your close with fee ratio, you should be running 75, 80, 85%. So we're looking at all those metrics, and we're looking at are they taking care of the clients? Are they converting? Are they following up? Because if you have a low closed fee ratio, some of those could be, like I mentioned, because the client's firing you because they haven't heard from you. Look, sometimes you're going to lose a client. It's inevitable, but if there's something you could do to avoid it, you need to be looking at your data. You should be listening to your, not us, but the law firm should be listening to their clients' calls to make sure the paralegals and the lawyers are doing their jobs, and there should be data every time there's a input, every time there's a phone call to make sure that client's happy. There should be a program where they're checking in and calling at least every month. I say every 2 weeks, but you have to be talking to the client on a regular basis. So intake is super critical. It's as important as marketing. Without one, you don't have the other.
And so with your qualification process, deciding if you're going to be able to take on a particular law firm, is intake on that checklist? Are they getting audited, or is there a test or something that they have to do to show you, okay, you're at least here, so now we can look at you with regards to intake?
We don't do that, and we probably should, but the reason we don't is because I don't know what is reasonable for a general auto or general PI practice in terms of metrics, in terms of what they should be converting at. I'm more concerned with do they take care of clients, and do they have an intake process in place? And I have a full-time member success manager. I'm going to be hiring a second one actually to cover our ever-growing number of firms. But that's one of their key responsibilities, is to be looking at the data, meeting with our members, looking for opportunities to improve on all these different metrics, on these KPIs. But it's something I may consider down the road, because again, if you're burning leads, these are expensive leads.
Right. Yeah.
Thousands of dollars to generate, and they're high value. I mean, the average fee on these motorcycle cases across the country is about 28,000. That's lawyer fee. And I've got some pushing 50,000. So just imagine, if you're even losing 5% of your potential cases, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue because you simply have an intake process issue or a client management issue.
Right.
And that's just leaving money on the table. Most of my firms now have realized and recognized that there's only so much business they can get in this ever increasing, ever competitive marketplace. So where do you go from there? If you can't drive more leads at a cost-effective rate, then you got to do a better job with what's coming in. So how do you do that? You convert at a higher rate, or you add more value to the cases by managing the clients and their medical and their care more hands-on and with more resources, right? So that's what I see my best firms doing, is how do they get their average fee up, and how do their intake numbers up, and that doesn't cost you very much more, versus spending it more in marketing. So that's really the trend for the best firms.
So everything that you're saying, you're really teaching the law firms how to run their practice. I mean, everything that you're saying is it's clients, it's prospects, it's leads, it's intake, it's CRMs, it's metrics, it's all of it. So it's kind of like you're teaching them too at the same time to try to be the best client that they can be for themselves and for Law Tigers.
I call it the business of law, and you're seeing more and more of that. Our friends at NTL put on a summit here now in Paris Valley every year. My dad just made a donation to his law school, Suffolk, his alma mater, to their business of law program. It's really, unfortunately, law schools over the years have done a disservice to their students and not teaching them the business part of the law. They've taught them the law part, but you're now seeing more and more schools that are providing classes on, how to actually run the firm, because a lot of lawyers aren't great business people. They're great, brilliant lawyers, but they don't know about a P&L. They don't know about marketing strategy. They don't know about staffing and intake conversion. So we try to do our part to help the firms, and there's lots of resources out there, obviously yours included, to help with intake. But you've gotta in this you have all these young men and women coming out of law school now that are way more savvy when it comes to social media marketing, when it comes to practice management. So if you're someone in their 40s, 50s, 60s that didn't have that, you're at disadvantaged. You need someone like us to help you,
Mhm.
modernize your practice and be competitive. There's some brilliant guys out there, and men and women that are doing, these social media campaigns and driving tons of leads. And we do that for the member, of course.
Yep.
So yeah, we try to do our part. And in fact, we're having a motorcycle accident summit in March,
Mhm.
uh, March 4th through the 7th in Savannah, Georgia next year. Every year I do a member summit just for members, and I decided to expand it for next year. So we'll still have our member only summit for the first day, and then the members will stay for the additional 2 days, but we're also allowing non-members to attend. There is a conference fee for non-members. We partner with National Tri Lawyers on it, and we're going to be offering CLE, and anyone can come. So you'll get to learn best practice from my existing members in the 2 days that the general public's allowed to come. We're doing panels, presentations, we're bringing in experts on all things that pertain to the practice of motorcycle law, trial prep, expert witnesses, business component, marketing as well. We won't be able to give away all of our trade secrets, of course, to our non-members, but I don't mind sharing some key insights, so that anyone that is trying to do it, whether they join our program or not, at least has an idea
Right. Yeah.
what it takes to really see success or find success within this niche.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And so you're providing everything that the law firm needs. And maybe it's also a good motivator for law firms to pay more attention to intake, because now they're being held accountable a little bit differently, like in a different way. So now they have to really focus on it. And probably the most important thing is, you said it earlier, is listen to your call recordings. Just listen to them, score them, talk to your team, and do it over again, and repeat and repeat and repeat. You can keep it that simple. And I mean, there's all kinds of different things you can do, but if you just start with that, it's easy to kind of get going, right?
Yeah, I know a few of my members have hired you, and have I'm not just saying this because you're interviewing me, and have seen great success in having you help them do that. Look, a lot of firms don't have either the time, the ability to do
Right.
it in-house. So I'm a big proponent and I'm an expert in marketing, or my team's an expert in marketing. You're an expert in intake. So
Mm-hmm.
I tell people make the investment. I think it goes back to hiring,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that's first and foremost. Putting more time and effort into hiring slow, and really identifying people that have a customer service background, that want to take care of clients, that understand that there is a process you have to follow, and then training those people that have the motivation, desire, and will to want to do a good job and represent, they're representing you and your brand.
Right.
So that's totally important. And then of course having a, training and coaching and mentoring, and in your case listening and providing feedback. I've listened to some atrocious calls where I'm like, I can't believe they talk to the client that way, or and I know people have bad days. Look,
Yeah.
someone who's answering your phone may have had an off day, but that's they're your customers, they're your clients. You have to treat them with dignity and respect, and obviously you deserve that from your clients as well. But I just you have to have a good intake program. You will not be competitive. You will not survive if you don't, because there's a lot of firms that do, that are offering, that are great at marketing and are great at client management and intake, and they'll take your clients from you and take
Mm-hmm.
cases from you if you don't provide that high level of service. You see it in retail. The
Right.
best restaurants, the best clothing stores, the best brands have. I was just in a store. It's called Van Cleef. It's a high end jewelry brand, and they just opened up a boutique in Neiman Marcus, which is another high-end
Mm-hmm.
store. In the level of service, you make an appointment to go in. They offer you some chocolate, some water. They sit down with you. They want to learn more about you as a customer. What you're looking for. I mean, now, yes, they're selling very expensive jewelry, but it's an experience. And these clients, especially our rider clients, are at their worst. They may have, or their loved ones. If it's a loved one, they may have lost their loved one in a motorcycle accident.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with the son or the daughter or the wife or the husband. Or if you're dealing with the client themselves, they may have lost a limb, they may never work again. So you've got to be really, receptive to what they're going through and provide that level of service. And, let's face it, lawyers do very well. These cases yield high, oftentimes result in high fees. You need to earn your fee. You need to not just, do your due diligence, represent the client at the highest level, but you got to, provide them with good customer service at every stage, whether it's a big case or a little case. And so I think the legal industry could learn a lot from other industries where service, value, and brand really, really shine. And that's why these brands are so successful and have been around for such a long time.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. Well, any last words for everybody?
Nothing really, unless, if you're looking, essentially if you're looking, for an opportunity to, like I said, help out injured riders and either develop a standalone motorcycle practice or a complement to whatever practice you're currently doing, and you want to give us a call or send an email, you can always call call 1-800-LAW Tigers. That's our commercial line, but you'll get to Dave. You can also send an email to dave@lawtigers.com. He's again my VP, our VP, executive VP of business development. There's also, if you type in Law Tigers membership or Law Tigers, you'll get to one of our sites and just fill out a form or call the number, and someone will be happy to speak to you and see if this is a good fit for you.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. All right, everyone. Chris Mullins and Lawyers Tell All. We'll see you real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.